Hello, hello, I am Ringru.
And I'm Graham.
We're here today with another run from the Bootcamp Discord Elite Tournament. Tria on a Nuclear Inter is coming, and who is coming today on this map, Graham?
So the only one I know for sure who's actually coming, Graham, is Nick the Man. Thank you for keeping his name straight as well. I really appreciate that. He's playing Scandinavia General here on the right in the red corner. And in the blue, I believe it's actually Razzman, not Krot. Yeah, once again playing the name shenanigans all over the place. Definitely not coming. And that is so Razzman in the blue here playing as NORAD Motorized. So he's doing a little memeage.
Got been seen last time with his memeage with USSR mech. It didn't go well, it was a decent effort, so maybe it'll go a little bit better being on the blue side this time for not Krot.
Is he doing what I think he's doing down below?
Oh. Great.
100%. He's 100% trying to sneak a CV into Echo.
I think that's what he's trying to do. He's got 2 recon helicopters.
There's no doubt, though. It's kind of funny. But then again, there's no actually helicopter. I'm thinking it out loud. There is no helicopter from Scandinavia that could actually threaten it. But yeah, you see here longbow, 1 Cobra, and then Chinooks, 3 Chinooks, 2 of them carrying airborne.
Because we have some.
Yeah.
We have the Walker Bulldog, so yeah, Nick is going to spot this 100%. And Nick is already pushing pretty hard into Delta, and due to that heavy point investment, he's just going to get the Delta and really the rest of the map.
But the big question is, did Nick actually see it? So sure, it was visible to him on his mini-map, but he's clearly microing up there, like you said, in Delta, pushing against these Canadian airborne here. Razzman, this will actually land. Now, with the fighter is making a turn now. Oh, no, it's just still in its loitering pattern. So he doesn't recognize it. This will be his first cue as this longbow and the Cobra dive in right there, shooting at the fob of all things. Oh, but the Cobra's on top of the CV.
Oh, no. He needs to spot it. He's also landed infantry to do it. We got base defense being brought on out, but yeah, the CV's landed.
Yes. Well, the CV I think will die no matter what here. F-16 dived in and missed it. Oh, one shot did hit the longbow.
Nighthawk.
But it's still... Oh, yeah, he's bringing Nighthawk, and that's probably to kill the... Oh, no, I don't know what that was for. Or maybe it was to kill this... It doesn't matter what it was for.
It's probably an emergency panic to kill the CV ASAP. And, yeah, he kind of says Echo now.
So, somehow, that just worked right there. I've never seen that actually work in a competitive match here, but this meme pick has 100% successful here by Razzman. He's brought in the Nexus here to help kind of stabilize, see if he can get the longbow repaired there. The F-16 has to stay up for Nick because it's the only plane he has until it runs out of fuel. So he's got to kind of keep it up here loitering as he tries to call back all of his units back to his base right now.
I'm surprised he's not being more aggressive with the F-16. Maybe he is worried about some sort of air defense, but he needs to kill that longbow. Even just strafing it with the minigun at this point, it's on 1 HP. Should be enough.
Yeah, you would think so. I'd imagine if you're Razzman, you want to get the longbow repaired really quick. So Smokesman dropped here at the front, but he's going to need it to help hold this push, though there is an automatic. This is actually where you'd look to see as soon as that F-16 is down for the Prowler that's in his deck to come out here. So this longbow could just, tear up this incoming column here. Very good smoke there by Nick as he's trying to respond, but the Nexus is going to get some of these vehicles on the road here. Automatic opening up actually on the Chinook.
Yeah, it's just quite interesting that he's pretty much pulling back all of his most of his forces to retake Echo here immediately. It's gonna slow down and you're playing the Delta and give Razzman, even if this doesn't solidify his base snipe. Oh god.
It came out there from his... The Nighthawk might actually die though. There's 2 automatics right there, 2 HP. Oh, it's gonna barely get away. Good hits there by the Nighthawk, stunning a lot of that. You see the basically the VAT, like a finished version of the VAT pushing forward at the XA where the 80s, 50 cals opening up, but this is already massively successful here for Razzman. He's actually calling out another C.
It's like I'm holding on to Echo.
I think he needs more maybe infantry or anything else would have been better, especially because there's no CV on the side of Nick here coming in. I mean, I don't know if how long he can hold this for, but I mean, every second it goes on is brutal for Nick.
At least the one thing for Nick is that losing your base doesn't lose reinforcements, as you still got the Bravo point, and thankfully he did cap that. at the
Right.
start of the match. Otherwise, it would just be GG at this point.
Yeah, that would be basically game over. See, the TACOM squad is engaging the XA-180s right there. It should go down, but there is, as he brought one in, the Humvee CV in the back there. Multiple Leopards being called out here, but I don't think he'll be able to retake the town anytime soon. And it's a lot of points actually invested there. The Longbow's dead, and the Longbow really didn't accomplish anything. So that's kind of unfortunate for him there. And funny enough, Nick does have still a decent amount of map presence, I guess, up by Delta and Alpha. So I'm not sure how much Razzman can actually get done up there currently.
I guess for Razzman, his best bet right now is just try to defend the forest line of the point. Even if you lose it and it becomes neutralized, at this point, this is more of a delaying factor. Don't try to invest too much here and then try to push heavy in the center here, capture Delta, maybe try to push up into Foxtrot, especially right now. Like a heavy Foxtrot push, even though it'll be a bit extended, it's pretty much a free pick because there's no reinforcements coming.
Yeah, and I think if you're Nick, honestly, pushing towards Charlie isn't a bad idea. I mean, I guess the problem is you have to go back for your base, but the longer he spends attacking an Echo, just plays into what Razzman wants to happen, right? Like he wants a drawn-out fight down here, so that way, even if he eventually loses it, the point cost was just so much in his favor. But these automatics just showing you their anti-ground roll right there. This is War Thunder live and in person, tearing up those Leopards.
Absolutely devastating, yeah. It's very interesting how this is developed, because essentially Nick is a bit surrounded, like he's boxed in right now, but he can pretty easily push out in any of these directions. It's just a lot of frontage he now has to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very weird dynamic that the two players are currently in due to Razzman's opening cheese. Actually, more infantry. That's probably Canadian rifles being called out there by Razzman, so to try and clean up the forest line. These light riflemen might win out against the Giants. It'll be pretty close. MG3, obviously, the superior LMG. The Humvees could provide with the 50 cals some nice fire support, and the Nexus is there too.
Yeah, he just has enough firepower to probably tip him over the edge here. Nick Demands really only has the automatics. Fortunately, he still has the FOB, so he has his own base to still repair at. We got pattern spam now. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
It looks like 8 of them coming, plus an STRV 121. That's a really heavy investment from Nick to come back down here to Echo. So I imagine if he does succeed here, he might eventually, like you talked about, I think he's going to go to Foxtrot, India. Like, all that stuff there, it feels to me kind of pointless to go back across the bridge over to Delta or Alpha. You might as well just keep it on your side and just send it. But then again, he's got to get to that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be... Yeah, it's just weird. I don't really know what to say. It's like the actual front line of the map is completely stagnant. We're seeing Razzman bring in some man-patch, actually, over towards the Charlie sector, but it's all just about the base defense and Echo. Location.
And both players see their chances of... So Nick's right here trying to not lose, right? You don't want to lose because you lost your base CV, and you have to go back and get it. Whereas your Razzman, sure, you could maybe like push somewhere else on the map, but the longer you have Nick fighting down here with no air support, really nothing else going on for him, the better position you're in.
Yeah. And he has a pretty good points lead right now, so he can afford... Oh, look! And he can just bring out the bombs immediately until the Harrier gets blapped. Yeah,
and the automatic should be targeting here. Oh, no, because they're on the move. And then one does go down to the Nighthawk there. Really good pickoff, and also killing some of the Dragoneers as well. Nice. Honestly, the Harrier sacrifice with automatic, I think it's worth it.
100%. And it's also giving him the positional advantage here of his C2 Maxis to move on up and kill some of his IFEs.
Yeah, that could be really big for him. And you can see the ATGM infantry trying to just ditch the position right there. Though they could maybe fire at the Mexis, but he's too busy trying to get him out of there. And you see the Mexis if it actually stops. No, it's going to just go right across the... I want to go across the bridge with it, but I think he might die here to the toe too, Fennec. Yeah, Canadian Airborne push out. They snipe another unit right there. Now the automatic is legit in danger, especially because that Carl Gustav will tear it to shreds. It might take the links with MG3 maybe to intervene here and save it. More Humvees pushing up. We'll look to see if Razzman unloads here. No, goes down to the toe too there. So a little bit unfortunate for the light rifleman, and now they're going to have to push in the open against that MG3 position.
Yeah, I think Nick is in the position now to actually shut down this Echo shenanigans. The M48's from a pretty good spawn camp location. Okay, there comes a Cobra. Red's not... I believe this is the Rocket Cobra. Oh no, it does have Itos, so he can start blapping.
It's a good thing this isn't Warno, or the 50 cals on the tanks would just kill the helicopter.
Yeah, it's like a true anti-aircraft machine gun.
It is. The 50 cal is the ultimate. Look at the pivot. The pivot just going to town right there. It goes down, but I think it killed a tank or two.
I think so as well. Even just the stun-up damage, yeah, was more than worthwhile. Because that pattern push was...
Look at the smoke there by Nick. The smoke in front of the Cobra to try and blind it. Now it pushes out. Which, it was almost stopped the toe missile right there. Ito.
Okay. So that didn't work. So we're going to get some more patterns.
Yeah, we're going to get even more patterns. We actually see the M92s coming out right there. That's pretty funny to see. Fennec 20 mil. But 20 mil probably could kill the Cobra right now. Yeah.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, Nighthawk with Prowler support.
Yep, and there's the Prowler. Yep, and we'll see the automatic.
Oh, it misses.
It misses though. And then the radar was. Oh, I don't know what the Nighthawk actually just blapped right there. It just annihilated something though. That poor Lynx. Oh, it was the toe Lynx trying to repair. Okay, rearm.
What a meme is this to evolve to right now. Razzman's ground defense is 2 CSs. So this CV. It's a good chance now the Humvee CV just gets sniped here.
Yeah, I do think this is over here now for Razzman. The shenanigans will finally come to an end. So I think if you're him, it's time to start pushing somewhere else on the map. I mean, he does have the lead, so I guess in theory you could say I don't need to push, maybe just CV up. But it's not like he has a ton of units out there, right? He did invest a significant portion of units to holding Echo. A lot of American light riflemen did die in Echo, so we'll see if... Oh, he just drops the Mexus right there, and the 25 mils just shredding it. It's because it's Canadian, honestly, that's why.
Yeah, Canadian bias.
Yeah. I mean, what is Canada, the elite military power right there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they showed you how elite they were right there. The Danes killed that leopard. That's how the Canadians should feel.
Gas trying to go to town, but he also gets blapped, so... Yeah, this is over.
Yeah, this is over. I mean, obviously, on one hand, you say Razzman he's clearly in the lead here. It's a big victory for just the amount of time, effort, resources spent to retake it. Nick does have it, and Nick does have a lot of units on the map still. I mean, he could repair these infantry squads, get them to full health, and then honestly, I think going Foxtrot India right now isn't a bad idea. Whereas Razzman's going for Delta and then probably Alpha.
Yeah, and he's already trying to do that right now a little bit with some Canadian Airborne, but he just doesn't have anything to, he doesn't have any significant forces anywhere to push, and it's just going to be a matter of time, probably 3 to 5 minutes, before all the stuff in Echo relocates somewhere actually useful and just makes a breakthrough. Even though it's not quality stuff, this is all just cheap vehicle spam. It's all he needs right now.
Yeah, and what Nick really needs Echo back for is to get his Air Force in play here. To shut down this Nighthawk, shut down this Prowler action, get those F-16s up in the air, and kind of help assert some dominance in the skies. We do see these Nolenjäger here engaging the Humvees. Should pick those off. They also let him spot the Bradley right there, so he'll know that's there. But these light riflemen are actually trying to come onto the rear position there of Delta, which could be really annoying for Nick if they end up holding that spot if he tries to push in there.
Yeah, because even though the M47 Dragon may not be... Well, it's really crap in Red Dragon, it does have some capabilities of knocking out 1 or 2 IFVs.
It's pretty garbo.
It's quite funny how terrible it is in Red Dragon compared to Warner, where it's actually... I mean, it's not an amazing ATGM, but it's something. Oh, there's something in Hotel. Oh, he sent a Fennec over into Hotel, probably tried to return the favor.
Yeah, and the Javelin made quick work of him, I believe.
Indeed, he did.
Manpads getting 1-hit kills, I would never have known from
No way.
But I'm going to keep that going for weeks, right? weeks.
Even when they fix that in Warner, even if they do,
that's a big if. Don't say win. It's a big if.
Big if.
Big if. Yeah. I'm curious to see though what Nick's strategy is here. Even Razzman with these Rangers getting aggressive. I mean, India, there's nothing in India. So for me, and obviously we have God vision, but it just feels like that's not a bad investment if you're Nick. Just because there really is nothing there. A slight probing forward will show him that. And Delta is already under Razzman's control. And just the way the game's going on, the amount of time that's been invested, it's going to be a big ask to get back in there.
Yeah. Especially as a motorized deck. You don't have yet great infantry compared to Scandi. But you do have a lot more infantry that are better in that infantry grind mindset compared to a general deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, here we go. F-16's making the play here.
Going
on
in,
the Prowler.
catch it.
And they get the kill. Yeah, nice pick there by the F-16s. So nice little win there for Nick. Also because of the points rank, if you instead of grinding over Delta, try hold Alpha to the best of your abilities. But if he could take Foxtrot and then maybe even take India, which right now he could in theory, those are multiple 2-point sectors that could get him back in this game points-wise.
Yeah, very, very quickly. Because India's the +2 on the enemy side is a pretty huge take. And that seems like that's what he is doing. He's bringing all his vehicles over here. Nighthawk is probably going to be able to snipe 1 or 2 things, but these are only cheap vehicles. Yeah, it's not going to be a worthwhile bombing target.
The big thing is the next time that Nighthawk comes out, the odds are the F-16s will be available again. So there was, I think, a chance right there for free damage if he wanted it. Obviously, he decided the cost isn't worth it. He doesn't know what the AA maybe is right there. So it's not worth losing your Nighthawk for 5 Nordland Leaguer. But the F-16s should be back out. And they're already back out.
They'll be blocking the skies from any more Nighthawk incursions.
Yeah, and that's a big thing here for the Danes. Not necessarily the Danes, right? But for Nick, is to get those Danish F-16s up there, put it into the unicorn weapons that NORAD likes to bring to the table, right? Longbows, Nighthawks, things of that nature, and then force it into a more conventional fight where his superior deck can make its presence felt a little more.
Yeah, especially if NORAD Moto, because all your super weapons are airborne units. You don't have like M1A or Abrams. It's all that sort of stuff. So just being able to maintain good air presence, automatics, and F-16s will allow him to shut that stuff down and just use the heavy tanks. He's pretty content right now, continuing to use M48s, which are almost out of fuel in Delta.
Yeah, and also like he does have the +2, and I don't see that ending at least immediately. So Nick is going to catch up here on points pretty quick. He also bought out a CV for Foxtrot. So there's a chance that you could maybe see 30 seconds to a minute of +4 here for Nick, which will quickly get him back into, even points for this game, which I think the longer it goes on just sets him up for success.
Nighthawk up north, he's
going for this. I don't know what that was.
That was like a complete miss.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, and the poor Nighthawk just got the Yugoslavia treatment.
Rip. Yeah, losing that Nighthawk is pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest piece of firepower in Razzman's deck off the table here. And to be honest, outside of the one automatic pick-off back down in the Echo fight, it really hasn't accomplished a ton. And neither did his longbow in terms of, for the push onto Echo. It's not like he was a really big player in that either. So it's multiple, high-value units that have died here for Razzman that just really haven't made a big impact.
Yeah, and then just looking at the more traditional front line here, it's looking a lot more red than it is blue right now.
Yeah, I think clearly Nick's out trading him. You get into they're in a very standard position now against each other, and it's just he's using his deck better. Obviously, the meme deck of Razzman only has so much potential, and maybe he thought the Echo move was the only way for him to win the game. But over the past 5 minutes, Rain, this has just been all Scandinavia.
Yeah, it's just slowly clearing out the Canadian Airborne here. His Norland Jaegers should be able to finish it up. And yeah, the problem really without the air power, he doesn't really have a whole lot of good anti-tank capabilities. Yeah,
and the Prowler here, he's gone into the Danish airspace once again, and there goes down another one. So both Prowlers are dead, and the F-117 dead here. So, I mean, really, that's just a huge shift into just further continuing that shift of air power dominance to Nick.
Yeah, I'm seeing that +4 now. It'll soon to be +2 as we're getting a CV onto Charlie. That's still going to force Razzman to get CV on India eventually. And that's going to be kind of an issue because he doesn't even have anything to defend in India, really.
No, and at this point, I think Nick's content because he got the +4 for a while. It will go back down to +2 in a second. But even that +2, that's brutal if you're Razzman because it's going to force him to have to cap India. That's 100 points that he's not spending on pushing anywhere else, especially which is now the primary zone, Delta. And Delta, I think here in the near future will be completely under Nick's control. And he already has a CV coming out, and that'll put him to a +3 if India's in cap soon.
Yeah, he's going to be in a very good position. Yeah, pretty much Razzman's... I think he's kind of buggered at this point.
He does look, as you angles like to say buggered, right?
Yes.
He's buggered. I don't even know what that means.
Gonna be proper done with.
Why do you guys have so many ways of just saying he's done? He's finished.
Because it's fun.
Toast.
Don't you want fun?
Is he buttered?
He's buttered. And I'll show you the buttering later, don't worry.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. We do see the Northern Jaeger do die to the Canadian Airborne, which is a really good infantry unit that NORAD gets. It's a big reason I think players sometimes pick NORAD. Though I think the question kind of comes like, is having like some Canadian Airborne really that much better than just if you just go for standard United States? It's people can.
I guess for Moto's route, it's also the C2 Mexes because you don't really have many Moto tanks.
Can't you get the M8? Can't you get the M8 if you go Moto US? Actually, you probably could get Moto NORAD. I think it's kind of cool.
It's pretty cool. I think it's just low armor. Like
it's
C2 Mexes is a bit better for trading.
It's like the fancy and not as good version of the AMX 10.
It is. It doesn't have the recon optics, so it's not actually stealthy.
Yeah, that's true. So then
you give something binoculars, and all of a sudden it has like a cloaking field.
Right. Though the AMX 10 RC in the tank tab is pretty good too for the French for 40 points. I mean, you see players take that out and use it to pretty good effect. I mean, obviously neither of them are no Roycat, but
that's proper DLC power creep, right? Yeah, Graham.
Yeah, but we don't see a lot of South Africa rain. We don't, the top level players don't ever give us any of that bush war action.
I know, it's a shame. We want to see the Roycat rush right off the start, right down the middle of high rate to show, and then sniping the enemy base CV 2 minutes into the match.
See, I would have had respect for Razzman if he had opened that way. That's a true, Wargame Red Dragon veteran moment instead of the tactical outplay maneuvering.
Indeed, and it's just becoming a grindy fight into Delta now, and of course just the rate of numbers here is going to be enough to, for Nick to pretty much hold this. To push this out, I should say. He doesn't actually hold the town currently, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of Canadian Airborne, so it's going to take some time to push them out of there. And we see, Bison with Sapper, keep Sappers playing way too much more now. Flame Infantry is going to be coming up. Grizzly, that's probably got a Javelin in it. But just the amount of, these Foxtrot over here pushing up. And M92 is providing a little bit of fire support as well. I mean, honestly, he could bring a bomber out if he wanted to, bring more artillery out. I mean, there's a lot. The entire width of his deck is available to him right now for Nick of whatever he wants to do. And the longer this grind goes on, just the better position he's in.
Yeah. And also having all fire support vehicles located around the town is helping him quite a bit as well. I mean, at the same time, of course, Razzman does have infantry spam, but he just does not have the initiative to beat out the current rate of numbers of just all the Dragoneers.
Well, I also think, when it comes to motorized, yes, you do have more infantry, but it's not necessarily like mechanized, right? Where mechanized players just may have 25, 30% more than you can even bring into the table, right? Motorized decks, you have more, but you don't have typically as good of transports, right? The good IVs. You got to be faster, a little more flexible. And if you get into grinds, just stand up, knockdown brawls with each other, motorized typically doesn't have enough substance to tango for too long.
It's usually just having the 5-point IFVs is big. Just basic AP, like 5-point APCs are so good for infantry spam because it's about the cheapest you can get.
Right.
And that's all you just need. You don't care about the transport. You're just going to Q move it to the enemy front line to erase ATGM ammo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's interesting to see like sometimes when people play motorized, and I don't think NATO or NORAD motorized is a good like example of it, but Baltic front motorized is very strong. I think all NATO Blue 4 motorized is considered pretty good as well. Eurocorps I think has a decent motorized, and obviously the South Africans, that's the only way to play them is moto. But I don't think the NORAD boys are going to be able to hold on here much longer.
Oh, we can take us to a ×2 at 14:20 game time. 3, 2, 1 ×2. This is pretty much just a slaughter now.
Yeah, unfortunately for Razzman, the tactical outplay, that's what I'm going to call it, didn't quite work out for him. And part of it, I think, Rank, just feels like it's such a reach. Like, you really got to get there, and the Nick's move was the right move. He said, you know what, I'm stopping everything else I'm doing. I'm not going to piecemeal units into there all the way over from the Bravo sector. We're take all the boys, load them back up. We're going to take back home base.
Yeah. Need to regain air superiority, because once you got those F-16s out, pretty much the moto airplane spam was no more.
Yeah, we saw no ASFs from Razzman whatsoever, though I don't think he was really in a position to bring them out at any point, especially because of the piecemeal way that, funny enough, that he had to defend Echo, where it's a singular unit call out here, singular unit call out there, and it just didn't quite, it wasn't enough to stop the mass that Nick was able to throw at the point there.
I think it's probably a better deck. It probably would have went a bit better, like just regular NORAD. Because then he probably could have been able to at least transition better into the more traditional match. Right, he just didn't have any actual substance to grind out with the Scandi blob of, patterns and M113s with an autocannon on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does show you that, even the light riflemen, like, he used them to go take the town, and it was like half a number of Dragonair said, nah, bro, this is our town, we're doing it for Denmark.
Machine Gewehr goes, bruh.
It definitely went, bruh. Eugen, we need a buff Machine Gewehr in Warno, please.
Please, for the love of God.
Please, for the love of God.
Indeed. But, yeah, fun match. Very unorthodox. Nice try again, Razzman. Maybe it'll go better next time.
Maybe if he used his real name, it would go better.
Maybe. But,
maybe.
Maybe. You have anything else to say, Graham?
No, thank you for having me as well, and I'm looking forward to see what the butter's all about.
You're gonna see very soon, and that's just for us two. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and as usual, please just take it easy.